friend's place. Those are not my guitars.
Oh, I was like, man, you got quite the Les Paul collection.
Dude, I wish. You don't understand. He's got it. He's friends with Misfits. He's friend with like Rush. He shoots. He's a professional photographer, so he's on the boat now with his wife. I'm watching their dogs.
Uh-huh.
And he's shooting for Exodus and the rest of the guys. Oh, he's got. I got a cool collection of pics. He collects those. He's even got Naked Cowboy.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. I'm trying to do a video with him half naked to promote my book. But, friends of friends. No, he's got a killer. And I'm like, could I shoot the podcast in your room? It's called Something with a Riff.
Yeah.
This will be appropriate. No, none of those are mine.
Oh, man, it's totally
all signed. It's all,
totally appropriate. Love it.
Yeah.
So, introduce yourself for everyone who doesn't know you.
Introduce myself. My name is Lior, which also means for light for me. They call me LIORCIFER. I make tattoos. In 2 months will be 30 years.
Wow.
As a professional tattoo artist, blah, blah, blah. And I'm New York based.
New York based, all the way from I grew
up in Israel.
In Israel, yeah.
Yes. I grew up. I blew up. I did what we do in Israel. I was on the beach, surfing, the whole 9 yard. I moved here. I started apprenticing at 16, started tattooing at 18. Did not go in the military. And then I moved to the U.S. at 21, did about a year and a half in Miami, and then I came in New York. I moved again. I also lived in Europe for a few years with some ex-wives. I have 4 of them. But New York is home through and through. I came back here 4 years ago. Will be next week, and yeah.
So tell me about life in Israel, man. Like, how growing up over there. I mean, from America's perspective, I mean, I'm a product of the media, I guess, in everything that I read about, it's just
shit.
It's shit.
Yeah. It's somebody's opinion.
Right.
For, again, even me, I've been fortunate enough to travel the world, tour with bands, tour on my own. I like to eat your food, your mom's food, right? I like to hear your story. I've been fortunate enough, I've been here since 99. I'm actually really good friends of the people who invented the New York hardcore scene, from Jimmy Gestapo and Vinny and the boys, to people who invented the black metal scene, to really crazy, even Bobby Steele, the guy, the original guitar player of Misfits. So I got to hear firsthand what their take of it, as opposed to the history we hear, right?
Right.
How is Israel? At this point in life, you do you. For me, PTSD.
Yeah.
There's no, and it's funny enough, because like I said, it took me writing a book 47 years later to put this in order. And I'm like, dude, I'm a metal kid. I had tattoos and long hair since a young age. I was a skater. I used to think this was cool. It's not. Mm-hmm. It's really not. The fact that every other bus we took blew up.
Jesus.
The fact that, you know what I mean? Like, I worked in the building. As soon as I finished a tattoo at 18 years old, the building went down. And again, as a long hair metalhead, I'm like, fuck, this is metal. And now at 47, about to be 48 years old, it's PTSD through and through. I talked to my mom the other day. They still live there. She goes, we're in a roll routine. I'm like, Mom, those words do not go together. Nobody in this world should live in a war routine. That being said, dude, I moved to New York in 99. A year later, we took the buildings down. So it's everywhere. And this is just life. Plus, people died in New York in the 80s for their shoes. It just wasn't newsworthy.
Right.
And this is why I make evil art. Like, kind of like every time they do an interview with me, I'm like, dude, take a look around you. What beautiful world do you live in? I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I'm trying to make the best out of it, but for every great person I meet in life, there's 1,000 fucking assholes. It's like, I don't know what to tell you,
You said correct.
We're the worst animals, dude. It is what it is. At this point, I'm old enough to understand. I stick to my cats. I stick to whatever. It's like, we do what we do. And again, I wish the best to everybody. I hope somebody will change it one day. I highly, highly doubt it. Same reason why I got into metal since a young age. Same things that I didn't put together. Same, I used to skateboard for years. I still do a little bit. And seeing the documentaries now put it all together, I'm like, we were outsiders, dude. We were not
Absolutely.
okay. Even when I start tattooing and everything, we were promised prison. That's pretty much it. They're like, oh, you're a metalhead, long hair tattoo, satanic scare. That was another good one. I got
Hmm.
investigated for murder just because I had long hair.
Yeah.
And now we're in the Olympics, skateboarding and metal.
Yeah. It's good to show you how things come full circle because it's profitable. I mean,
Oh,
like
it's not.
skating is a huge industry now, versus years past, like in the 70s and whatnot,
It's
where it was,
nuts. Dude, where you live, I have friends out your way who did 16 years for fucking like a joint.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
16 years. I'm like, who did you murder? And like, no one. Me and my boy were like, so if you get drunk and beat up your wife, we're good. But the one joint, dude, they made me criminal from Israel to Europe to America. All these years, I'm like, yeah, I'm the artist that smokes weed. Oh my God. But
So
it is, and again, that's, I guess, the price of getting a little older, weirdly and sadly enough. And it's like, you have different views of how we look. As an American, like you said, dude, there's a reason I moved to this country. I'm an American through and through. I've lived in Europe and got shit for it. And I'm like, buddy, America is lovely. We
yeah,
have so much. It's what I call white people's problems. We have so much time to bitch and moan. I'm like, may you never know. For my friends that grew up in communist Poland, to me in Israel, to people who grew up in South America, may you never know how bad can bad look,
yeah.
and not because of anything you did. Your parents chose to have you, and you just happened to be born somewhere. So we made a run for it, and somehow made a success ish out of it. So
Oh man, you made a great success of it. I mean, I know that you traveled all around the country
in the world, yeah.
and the world as well with your art, and deservingly so. Uh, like I said at the top of the conversation, I just wish I had was able to like read your book because your story, just from what your bio says on your website, is just it's fucking incredible, man.
Oh, the book is nuts. Thank you. The book
Yeah,
is nuts. It's and again, I tell everybody, I'm not happy I did put the book out. Just so we're clear, dude. I used to be king shit. I have a bookshelf of articles, and I have friends. For fuck's sake, I'm on the deicide cover of Scars of the Crucifix. Okay, that Paul Booth did when I worked for him. Dude, I got arrested in a satanic scare for listening to those guys, for wearing a shirt of those guys. So life have been. I like quoting Indiana Jones said that to his girl once, when she's like, "Oh, you didn't age well," and he's like, "It's not the years, baby, it's the mileage."
there's the mileage.
And dude, as much as I have, I'm friends with people. I'm family with Mayhem and other bands for many years that do this a lot longer than me. This is life. This is just. I mean, you pick and choose whatever works for you. It's been crazy, yeah. Again, and writing the book, because sadly I'm not busy enough nowadays. Because post COVID, we all took a hit financially.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like very cathartic. When you in hindsight go, you know what, dude? I told that to my mom years ago. It's not an easy thing for a kid to tell mom. And she's like, "You always this and you always that. You're still depressed." I'm like, "Mom, if I died tomorrow, just so you know, I'm dying with a smile on my face. I've overdone what I even could have dreamed of."
Right.
Um, that being said, it is what it is. It's a small world than anybody thinks. If you're willing to put your shit out there, and if you really believe in something, dude, I'm a metalhead since I'm 11. Why the fuck not? Being
Yeah.
able to tour, being able to this. The answer was yes, and that's why I'm left with $1 now, and most of my friends are sitting very well and comfortable. But I have. It was crazy to write the stories. Yeah, that's for sure. It was like,
Well, why don't you share some of those stories with us, man? Like, it would go as far back as you want. I mean, this is your hour.
ugh, that's a rough one. I don't even know which is which. Some of my stories. It's very hard for me to think of which is which. Like I said, they're all just as nuts. Like I said again, I grew up in Israel. I'm 47 years old, so I've been to the Satanic Scare, and basically from guys that came to my house and looked for weed, which they didn't find, but they saw the satanic things, and 2 days later, I was called to the police station in suspicion of a murder of a 16-year-old. I was 18 back then. They did show me the pictures. Nobody saw. They did carve a pentagram to his back. It just wasn't me. I was amused by the fact they didn't even think I was a part of it. They thought I was running a satanic cult.
Wow.
Because again, dude, look at me now. I stuck back then too. As a kid with tattoos, I had Jim Morrison on my forearm since I'm 16. I fit the bill to everything they want. I had like all that shit. So they got to investigate me and da da da. And again, like I told you, it's like crazy enough, the same bands, the same stuff that they saw, like they saw the Satanic Bible. And then years ago, was it 12 years ago, actually, yesterday on the day, I opened my studio. I used to have a private studio in New York, in Fernham. And a week later, Church of Satan puts me on their front page of like, hey, if you want a real satanic tat, I've never even been a part of them. Shit like this. Shit like having deicide posters and ended up on their cover. You know,
Yeah.
all those little things is like, it became life. And again, working for Paul Booth, suddenly all these people are like, oh, Carrie's coming. It's like, dude, that's Carrie King. That's Slayer. You know, like people like that become, oh, this guy. I had an art show a few years ago at Gall's Gallery. And I'm like, really? Like, you know, all this stuff that it's like, I wake up every day reminding myself I'm a kid from Israel.
Yeah.
And that's why all this kind of sinks into like, fuck, where of life? It's not like you just met your idols. They became kind of like family at this point.
Right.
It's crazy. This is all nuts for me. I don't see my art as other people I see, dude. I'm still very critical of my art. I don't see the big whoop. Apparently it was accepted enough. Apparently it did work for what it worked. Um, but there's been a lot of little stories like this through and through that really kind of like almost like crossed the line of like, is this really happening?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And again, a lot of it had to do with like music, with things, again, with the people we grew up from Stallone that I fucking met and gave him shit. You know, like shit like that. I'm like, dude, who the fuck am I to even? But I'm very open. This is why New York is home. I'm very brutally honest about those things.
What did you give Stallone shit about? Like, I have to know.
I can't remember what it was. Oh, the tattoo he wanted.
Was it a cover up of his ex wife or something like that?
I wish, dude. I do cover ups all the time, and that I would have totally understood. No, I can't remember. He wanted some cheese bag shit, and this was right after that Rambo came out. With you guys,
Okay.
like, I'm like, how did you guys even get away with it? It takes Stallone to get away with shooting kids on a Hollywood movie and getting away with it. And I'm like, dude, that guy you went on the thing and blew him up with the machine gun. I'm like, this is so not Hollywood, but you're Stallone.
Right.
Like you, De Niro, they're not touching you, right? And then he started talking to me, and he's like, "Oh, so all you do is black and gray, creepy shit." I'm like, "Yeah." And then he showed me his thing, and it was like some lovely guy. I did take him to the artist that did it eventually, but I wasn't gonna be cool about it. I'm like, dude, you're Stallone. I got expected better than you. And his homeboy from the Hells Angels was next to us too. I'm like, if we're all gonna play tough guy here, I'm gonna be honest about this. You, my friend, did not seem like you would get like the eye of the tiger or something, right? To make us, it's like they tell you, be careful about meeting your idols.
Yeah.
You know, Tom Araya used to be like this when his kids were young, and you would go backstage, and then he's like, ah! It was like, not quite what I thought backstage Slayer would be, but you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's the
I can
same.
definitely relate to you. I had my first outing to Oslo Inferno Festival in 2022.
Mhm.
And Yannicke did a lot of like my entire right arm,
Nice.
and meeting her, like you said, like your idols, your people, like just become family at one point. Like I was able to go to Beyond the Gates earlier this year,
Oh,
and she invited me to her after party, man. And I was just looking around like at all these artists and some
they're
musicians.
Norwegians. They're nice as fuck.
Yeah,
Not
they're
for
they're fucking,
nothing.
they're fucking awesome.
Yannicka became. Yannicka is a funny one for me. then again, I feel like an asshole about it because I was king shit for a minute there. I was never cocky about it. I was never anything, even when I was really in my height of my career or whatever. It's not really the height. I do better now. I just need to make it happen again. But Yannicka, I was told a couple times when I was in Norway, I can't remember Stavanger or whatever, and they're like, "Do you ever meet the girls, the tattoo artists that did the person covers?" And I'm like, "The fuck are you talking about? Like, how is there a tattoo artist that did the Bursum cover that I didn't meet by now? I am like the evil."
Yeah, yeah.
And sure enough, she met me finally in London when she invited me to the black metal, to the festival she did. And she's like, "Oh, I don't want to bother you." And I'm like, "You're the guy." I look at my client, I'm like, "We're taking a break." And I went and talked to her for 20 minutes. I'm like, "First of all, dude, finally get to meet you." Yannicka became family.
Yeah.
But Yannicka, throughout the years, we did the black metal. She's when I first finally met and tattooed Toke, Orion, and my friend, my friend from a couple bands from like was it Phantom Fire now. He plays with Eternus. I have a lot of good friends out there. Same thing, the guy from Hades Almighty I tattooed, Jörn, Frode is my friend. Sorry, I'm high. But yeah, I got to meet those people. I got to hang out with them, and dude, that festival was the one-off. Like, I can't even describe how we felt about it. And ever since then, we kept in touch. I used to go at least twice a year. I used to go to Inferno. I was the first guy who ever tattooed in Inferno. And again, we made a connection with friends in Oslo, and their good friend Hilda Hammer, which sadly passed away a few years ago, was one of the organizers. That woman did more to the metal world in Norway than anybody knows. So she goes, "How about you and Maya will tattoo there?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" And I did a sleeve on her, Slayer. So we started going to Oslo. We started doing that before there was a million artists. And again, same shit, dude. It was just surreal. She like, come with me. I'm like, well, what's up? What are we doing? She like, "Come with me." And she stood in front of the whole line to introduce me to Carpathian Forest and
Yeah.
Mother Frost and all the guys. And I'm like, cool. And I got a thing signed by them when I actually gave a fuck. But yeah, they all became friends. Like, damn, like I said, like I'll end up on a plane with fucking Olved. I'm like, "How about? No big deal." I'm like, "Dude, can I please tattoo you one day?" Like, shit like that. And then I start going to Bergen. Bergen was the best of all ends. Again, dude, it's not, Oslo is still more of a town. Bergen, dude, 10 minutes you're in the fjords, 10 minutes you're in the fucking forest, 10 minutes you're in the city, 10 minutes you're in the mountains. I'm like, this is the best. And I can see why you all lived there. And I start going there, and Yannicka became family that when their kids are away, I'm also staying at her place. We tattooed each other first time I was there, and then she started tattooing me more and more. She did like more
Oh yeah,
stuff
I
on
can
my
see her artwork
shoulder,
on you.
which I didn't ask for. She goes, "I'm gonna give you this." A few years ago, when I'm back on the road and trying to get my life together, she's like, "I'm gonna do something for you here. You don't have to get it." And then she explained to me what those runes meant, and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, dude! I need all the help I can get." She gave me 2 runes for traveling. One is for a horse, but she's like, "You're such a nomad. I'm giving you 2." But yeah, she's been family ever since then. Every time I keep realizing, I'm like, "Did you do everybody's logos? Is there anybody you didn't?" Like, and now she posts a picture she tattooed Diana. I'm like, "When the fuck did you tattoo Paul Diana?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like,
I saw that too, and I was like, what?
I know. I'm like, dude, not for nothing. Paul Diano started everything for me, right? Like,
Right.
I got handed Killers when I was 11 years old, and the rest is history. And I'm like, okay, lady, it's just starting to annoy me now. Like, what the fuck? And no, they're all family because she's been there from the inception. And yeah, I get to meet, like I said, when I stayed at Yannicka, stayed with us, Hat, the original guy from Girl. They're like, "Who is this clean cut guy?" She's like,
Yeah.
"Are you kidding me?" And I'm like, "You're what?" And she's like, "Dude, Orion is looking up to this guy, right?" And I was like, you meet those real deals that became normal people now, I guess, or whatever you want to call them, normal. But again, dude, I'm a kid from Israel. Life has been that nuts that I'm like, those were my idols. Those are the people. You want a good one? Here's a good one. Trim, the drummer of Emperor, right?
Yes.
We do black metal. Uh, and then I tattooed, and then I had a guy, which is a brain surgeon from Paris. This is how crazy life is. And I'm tattooing him. We're like, I need another half an hour, whatever, even though the band started. So this guy tattooing next to me, which I didn't really know, he comes and he looks at my tattoo. He's like, man, I'm a big fan. Really great art. I'm like, thank you. You don't go again. Dude, I've always been humble about it. I've never felt like I'm anything. We practice. We do something for a million years. You better be a little better at it.
Yeah.
My client turns around. Then he turns back and he looks at him and he goes, would you happen to be a drummer of a really influential band? And he starts laughing and he goes, uh huh. And my client looks at me and he goes, dude, that's Trim from Emperor. And I look back at him, rolling my eyes, and I'm like, no, 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 no. And I put my gloves down, and I'm like, you like my art? Who the fuck music do you think I listen to since I'm 15 when I make that art? And those are kind of like moments that happen because I remember when I worked for Paul Booth and he said the same about like Sepultura, about people like that. And it's nuts. It's really like I said, I can't really put it into any words or anything. I'm like, this has been surreal to say the least.
Yeah.
So try to enjoy it for what it is.
Absolutely, man. And I want to ask you, you brought up Paul Booth. Did you work for him or did you apprentice for him?
I apprenticed for him. I
Okay.
found out, and again, I just had a podcast we did about tattoos with like who's Paul Booth, and I'm like explain to people, right? He was very monumental what he did. He was the first one. He really opened many, many doors of what he did, and he was. If you were into creepy tattoos, he was the guy.
Right.
And again, he took the art of tattooing definitely an extra step and level than anyone else back then, and black and gray especially. And nobody could touch him. This is not nowadays that somebody else could copy it. Nobody could even understand how he did that on skin. Um, like I said, I started in tattoo young. And when I was apprenticing at 16, I was already pointed out of like, you might want to check out this guy because this is like early 90s when he started blowing up.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. It was like, yes, that's definitely like, father, where are you, right? It's like, it was like perfect match. I followed him throughout the years. I met him personally. I wanted to get tattooed, but he couldn't. Officially in Dunstable in England, 95, to the first convention I went to. I wasn't working, but that's when I met him, got his seminar. That's it. I pretty much kept in touch. Nobody touched the left arm other than him because my idea was like I want him a tattoo so I can at least look and learn from it, right?
Right.
And I started getting finally the sleeve done in 98 when I moved to the States. Um, and around 99, he opened a shop in New York. He had a position, da da da. I made my best. I moved to New York and kind of did what I did in my first apprenticeship, which is very old school and just show up. I was there one day a week. Everything you guys need is help, da da da. So you got to know me better, of who I am, what I am, da da da. And as soon as that position really opened, I got the chance to do that. And I went from like a few days to full time as an artist, and quickly enough, it became my second apprenticeship. Yeah, so I stayed with him for like 7 years, from about 2000 to 2007, and yeah, it was quite a ride.
What was the biggest takeaway you learned from Paul over those years?
uh, that will make a whole book by itself, which I never cared to write. Honestly, if you read my book, it's the only. Paul Booth was an amazing artist and still is, but he has a personality. It's not that easy to deal with. And again, I have my context of why I think he got to be like that. And again, dude, you do you, not my problem. My problem is that if this is becoming on me, which was the case, that was the issue. We all left it one day, 7 years later. But my biggest take, I keep saying it. There's one sentence that Paul told me, and that actually applies to everything in life. And he said, Lior, in life, everything is 50% cardable. And you know what? Not for nothing. He's very correct about just about anything we do, especially nowadays. You can put bells and whistles on a piece of shit and be some nobody. What do you mean you're an influencer? You're like, what? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Why are you making millions of dollars and I'm still eating ramen? but this is the Kardashian world we live in, right? And
Right.
dude, I'm more than I would like to learn how to meddle in between all this. Um, he taught me many things, again, for good or bad, whether willingly or not. Yeah, no, it was. He took my art, he took everything in a whole different ballgame, a whole different direction. And again, not for nothing, working for the guy who was king shit back then, it also shows you the other end of things that maybe I wish I didn't. Maybe I wish I was a little more naive,
Yeah.
right? That getting 6 years into tattoo, it understand that your trophies mean nothing, that this means like something means nothing, but whoever gave it to you, could be like I could go as Paul's apprentice and pick up a trophy just because they want to please Paul, right?
Right.
Shit like that, which again, dude, we see in the world in art, in everything, in music. It's nothing new. You know, Sharon Stone fucked her way to be an actress, and all the power to her. At least she was open about it,
Yes, she was.
and she's great, dude.
Yeah.
We all fuck shit all, you know. We all do enough shit. I paid my dues then. I still pay my dues now. I'll still clean your bathroom. There's no issue. Just be true to it, to who you are and how you do it, right? And I think that was the
Exactly.
biggest take from all the years with Paul, other than obviously my art. My art have grown exponentially after working with him.
When how old I say you said you just got started at 16 when you started doing tattooing. But back whenever you're a teenager, when did you figure out that okay, look, this is something that I want to do permanently. This is something that I want to like put on people's bodies.
Well, I think, again, I used to be a skater, so I wasn't really a big fan of being at home. Then I became a pothead at 15, so I stayed at home a little more. But I decided, I'll say around the age of 13, I started deciding because I started doing art and we drew on our walls, we drew this and that. And I was like, I would love to be an artist. I would love to be a full time artist, basically. Then the question was, what? What medium should we do? 'Cause, dude, I'm a kid. I like comics. I like this, and I like art books with Da Vinci. So it's like, what kind of artist? And dude, nobody's gonna give you. There's not a person in the world that's honest about enough that will be like, fuck yeah, dude, become an artist.
Yeah.
It's like a nice meme. But we all know that most of you that want to become an artist is gonna be a shit show. We all know it's gonna be, and again, dude, we play this game, the PR, the this, the that, the gallery show, dude. I hate galleries. It's like I don't need that much smoke blowing up my ass. It's the whole thing, you know. For me, it's like on a gallery that like an LA attitude. It's just a little too fake.
Right.
And again, it's the art world is this. Same thing with music. People see me backstage with a band, assume that I'm like, no, I just happened. I'm the tattoo artist. Just happen to tattoo homeboy, so I'm here. That's pretty much it. Um, but I think fairly young because, dude, again, I was a metalhead, I was a skater, and we're outsiders, and this is like early '90s.
Hmm.
So our bands had at least one or two tattoos, right? We're like we weren't the criminals, but we're close enough. We're outsiders
Right.
enough, and I think the meaning of that is what really. I mean, I saw a few people here and there with tattoos, and it clicked right away for my fucking juvenile mind. I'm like, you know what else would be cool other than the long hair and the shit? Freaking tattoo. So by the time even early teenage years, since I already tried to play guitar, that didn't go well. But I was like, yeah, tattoos will fit perfect for my fucking ass to do, and that was pretty much
And that was it, huh? You talking to a fellow skater as well. I grew up skating, so I know how it feels to be that outside. I mean, I come from a small town in South Louisiana where
yeah. You remember
uh,
getting arrested? You remember when we got busted by these people that they're like, you're bored and you're
constantly,
vandalizing shit?
constantly. I mean, if like my high school was probably had the best street skating things to do.
You all did. I used to come see my cousin in Buffalo. You guys had the best schools here for that.
Yeah, and
And skateboarding is not a crime was a statement,
that's
right?
right. Put that sticker everywhere
You
or spray painted everywhere, you know? And, but I have to ask you, man, like, and just seeing your artwork was like Powell Peralta. Was that like the company for you or was it like other company?
yeah.
Okay.
My first tattoo, I don't know if you can see it here. My first tattoo is the Mike Vallely Palo
Oh,
Peralta.
there you go.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Because I skated. Some people in Israel skated with me still think my last name is Vallely because you know how we called each other by the board.
Yeah.
I met him a couple of times. I actually did a board for him, not to produce, but just as a thank you for life, right?
Yeah.
That was my first tattoo. Yeah. I show kids now, and I'm like, dude, I'm really a skater. Like, seriously? And a week later, he came out in Thrasher with the same tattoo here. Good thing I didn't see it. I would have had it here because it fits perfect, the
Yeah.
shape.
Yeah.
That being said, I just went to the speech that they had with Tony Hawk and fucking Rodney Mullen, the god himself.
Dude, Mullen
Dude,
is
Gons was in the crowd and he wouldn't stand
oh
up. They're both
shit.
like, Gons lives here. He's in the crowd. And we're all old people go like, where? Where's the Gons, right?
Lior, I got fucking goosebumps when you said that, man.
Dude, I understand. People don't get it when I tell them. I went back to skating mildly because I don't want to hurt my arms. That's why I stopped. Dude, I was a skater through and through. It's the only love, the only other love than art in my life was skating, and I can't put it away. I don't care. I'm twice the age, twice the size. Lots of muscle memory. I can still flip and all
Yes.
sorts of crazy shit. But skateboarding, dude, again, we were told, why don't you do a real sport, right?
Right.
And seeing the documentary nowadays really opens it. There was a soul there. It was an outsider's thing. Like thrashing, like all of it, right? I
Yeah.
met that guy. Like, he comes to some skate parks in Cali. But
Two
yeah,
people.
no, for me exactly. That makes me a kid. Like, dude, skating was
Exactly.
always. I still have boards on the wall. There's storage now, even if it's dark throne boards, and I still have my Vallely board. There's always been a Vallely board in my house, like on the wall.
Two people that really come to mind when well more than two, at least three come to mind from my teenage years and like skateboarding, man, is fucking Valele, Nautimus Copus, and fucking Lance Mountain. And those dudes pretty much like opened the floodgates for me at a very
Nada.
young age.
I want to meet Nadas. He's a weird one.
Yeah, I would like to
I
meet
was
him too.
dating a girl for about a year in Santa Cruz a couple years ago. And dude, as soon as I even rolled into Santa Cruz, I look at my phone. He's like, "What do you want to see?" I'm like, "Where's the headquarters?" Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, dude, I'm in Santa Cruz. Where the fuck is the headquarters? Wheels on fire, streets on fire. I'm like,
Yep.
you not understand. I'm a street skater. I'm in Santa Cruz. And we went, I skated Derby. I went to Bill's Wheels. I actually helped her put, because they're redoing Derby to make it as a monument. I helped her put, I did the art for like two of the pool parties. And dude, those guys are ripping. I'm from Israel. I've never been to a real party,
Yeah.
like a skate party. And I'm like, I'll help you secure the guys later. I'm standing by the pool with my eyes open, like, this guy's a legend. I'm like, you guys are Santa Cruz. Do you even know what that represents to me?
Right.
And not us, yeah, not us. Valeli. Valeli was a tough guy, dude. Him running through the cemetery solved me right away, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Man, God, what a time to be alive if like you were like in fucking LA with all those guys, man, and fucking just watching them skate in the
Dude, I
pools and
know
shit.
friends that, and I heard the stories all my life. Again, dude, we had, I think, Mike McGill came to Israel when we opened some skate park in like early
The
'90s.
father of the
It was
McTwist.
the first fucking legend we've seen. That was not happening by now. They all went there, and most of the skate park in Israel are run by people I used to skate with. But it's crazy to me to see where we reached. It was crazy when I found out Nigel was that kid we saw skating at 11. I'm like, that's him?
Yeah.
You're like, fuck yeah, dude, that's him. It's gone insane. It's really gone to a level that I'm like, dude, I don't even know what to say. And again, sadly, and I've seen a few documentaries talk about, such as Dogtown, it lost some of its soul.
It did. It did.
That's the thing that, like, we came a long way. We're amazing what we do now, but we lost the soul. And I'm like, dude, take a look around. You saw that everybody else, whether you make food or make tattoos, this is just sadly the world we live in.
Hmm.
And we go to sleep hoping they'll come back one day to some extent, you know?
Yeah. I just, it was, it makes me remind me of what Fenris said in that movie, Until the Light Takes Us. Like, he was just witnessing this black metal movement that just turned into something really cartoonish and like
When
just,
he said we have nothing to do with it.
I know, no, but, you
Speaking
know,
of, by the way, I tattooed the girl did the movie too.
oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Her boy died
Yeah.
the year before that. He was super friends with the guys. Not with Fenris, but with Nakulto. But No, no, yeah, I got the tattoo because he had her boy Nakulto in Japan, I think, got like a kanji on their arm, so I did that on her as a souvenir, and she heard about me through the scene. No, no, no. Everything they say, it's very real in
Very
reality.
real.
I mean, none of those guys. This is not like nowadays when you're a kid and you're like trying too hard to be a hero. You're trying too hard to invent on something or blah 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 or go viral. And it's like none of them did, dude. It was a very naturally coming. And again, you've been to Norway. You understand now why. You understand that if you suppress something like this, when it blows up, it blows up. I've been in Italy. I've been to enough countries to see. I've lived in Germany for 2 years to understand how shit went years ago. I can see the mentality, right?
Yeah.
But over there, like you said, dude, it's yeah, it's crazy where we've gone because there's a style of tattooing now which is basically shitty tattoos,
Really.
and I'm like, dude, no. Like I'm sorry to tell you, no. But yes, God forbid you can't fucking talk to anyone nowadays because you're gonna offend them,
You're
and
gonna
they
offend
make
them. You're gonna
a
get,
lot of it.
some sensitive personality that's being disrespected, and
But this is what we do now. Dude, everything is like the Special Olympics. Everybody gets a trophy. This is basically like, and again, dude, I'm a human being too. We all are. I'm not any better than anyone else. But I'm sorry to tell you, whether because I'm older or because I grew up to better people than us that really believed in something and went and put their life and everything for it. You know what I mean?
right.
Nowadays, it just really thinned down a lot of places and things. And I don't know. I hope he'll come back one day. I'm pretty sure it'll blow up in our face first before it comes back. But,
Yeah. So
we
what
hope.
what do you have on tap uh in the near future? Are you doing any traveling, like
I,
actually exhibitions and whatnot?
funny enough, I just wrote a whole book about being a nomad and now I'm being lazy. Um, I came back to the US 4 years ago. I was basically, I would say stuck, but it's not really stuck. I was in a house with my ex wife in Denmark, in rural Denmark. I'm a city guy, so that did not go well. 8 months, did tattoo for a few months. I came back here, like I said, November 5th will be 4 years. Came back here, did a 3 months cross country. Got the power I needed, came back. First 2 years, I did about 80 flights a year and about 20,000 miles in a car. Dude, COVID did a number on me. I needed to go. I was like, I talked to my boys that tour, and I'm like, now I know how you guys tour. That sucks. Like, not for nothing. It's not as glorious as people think. I love it because I love going places. I love meeting people. And dude, I love real America, and I live in New York. So any day to go anywhere in America, from the guns to the food to the nature, like not a problem. Europe, same thing. I've been doing it for years. So I have a lot of clients that get me to keep doing it. But the last year or so, I mellowed down. No, I didn't really like last year. I didn't leave all year, and then I did a 45-day tour for 8 countries. I
Hell
was
yeah.
supposed to go to Israel, but that shit show started, and I've spent enough time in shelters. We're not going back. So I'm gonna let them calm down. I'm going to Miami next month. I have not been back there in 20 years because I'm not a big fan. I must come out your way. Fuck Miami. Like Florida is just weird. Yeah, the further north you go,
Oh
the more
God, yes.
you are. It's
Yeah.
like unbelievable. I like it better, Jacksonville, shit like that. My boys out there and in Georgia. But yeah, I'm gonna go back to Miami next month. I think Paris convention is again in February, if I remember correct. So I'll try to do a few countries while I'm in Europe, and again, try to go see my family because it's been 2 years. I don't see those guys calm down anytime soon, so I'm not really sure, but hopefully they will. And yeah, other than that, no, I'm in New York. I had to stay more home because people get confused, and that
Mhm.
pisses me off. Like, you're on the road all the time, and people assume you're on the road all the time, and it becomes a little like everything in life, you need some sort of structure. I would date a girl in California, and people are like, so you live in California now?
Right.
Like, no. And again, I don't blame them. I threw them off by living in Europe, by doing this and that. So like you'll see every one of my posts now, like I cannot stress this enough. I'm going to Miami for 5 days and then I'll be back in New York where I am all the time. But that's what I'm trying to do now. Other than that, yeah, Europe next year for sure again. I really need to go back to Norway because that's been like more than a year now, and I miss those guys. But it's expensive as fuck.
Yeah, it is.
So for me, locally again in Norway, I have a few people with bigger projects. So once I line them all up, that's how we do it,
Yep.
and I have people to stay with.
So as a tattooed artist who's been doing this for quite some time now, do you ever get nervous before tattooing anyone?
Every time,
Every time?
every single time.
Come on, man.
Dude, I'm not even kidding. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel more comfortable with tattooing than anything else. That is the one thing in life I know how to do. Like I actually OD'd a few years ago by doing stupid shit. And for about a month my brain was so fucked up after, right? Like I couldn't even like trust myself to brush my teeth. But the one calm time I had in it is tattoo. It was the one like this we know what we're doing. While I'm tattooing. But before, no, I'm like that guy that throws up. Like if I go to conventions, I will still throw up every morning in the room to get it over with. Um no, like I said, I never became a confident artist. I felt confident that once I tattoo you, I know by now we're good, no matter what. But no, I'm still nervous because of a million reasons. You take a look around you, that's the problem. You're dealing, especially nowadays. The information that people are being fed is not exactly correct. And you could have the client that actually did want the fucking cheesy thing that looked like 100% like it was made out of like some perfect porcelain thing where I'm like, dude, my tattoo will look like this in 1 or 2 years for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That's how that works. It's not going to look great for your picture. It's not going to get you viral for the picture. But again, people are the enablers. So a lot of them do want that. And that for me kind of throws me off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'll sit there and be like, is that line perfect? Not that it matters. And I know that by now. But for that client, it could. So I try to read as much as I can. But no, I'm not nervous. When I tattoo, I'm having fun. But before I tattoo, yeah, I'm still nervous.
Yeah. I'm just saying like moments leading up to, the first
It's like
puncture.
riding a bicycle. Yeah. Once you get like the first two things, like, I don't know, we're good, dude. And now we can jump too. But to get the first paddles, you're like, and again, that I question myself all the time. It's the dumbest thing I ever did in life. And that's how life is.
Yeah.
Like I've been trying to I promised myself a few years ago to go back to being young. So like I said, that cross country is also when I got this to fuck off and die at the side of my head and start going with a mohawk. And I was like, I'm going back to my 20s, dude. Like, enough. I had enough. I don't know what else to say. I want to enjoy life. That being said, I'm still older. So there are things in your head that you got to shut off or remind yourself. And that's why I'm like, I wish I could feel like all these people that feel great about themselves, man. It must be a nice thing. I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
Most
Some
people I
probably
met,
overly
I'm like,
dedicated
man,
too.
must be nice. People feel really highly of themselves. Must be a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
No
one telling them what's going on, inside their minds, that they're not telling anyone.
Again, you do you, and yeah, both me and you know what's gonna be the repercussions on that.
Right.
But you know what, dude? I'm angry and fucking whatever enough. I don't want to ruin your little party.
Yeah.
You have at it. Same thing. I see young people. I'm like, why would I give you advice, dude? They gave me advice. I didn't listen. I learned myself. Go and learn yourself. If you survive it, we'll have a coffee. It's like, you know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you. And again, I'm not here to lead your revolution, dude. I'm just trying to make the best out of whatever fucking life we have here for whatever time. We're what, 1 week away from election or a civil war or whatever the fuck is coming next. It's like, I'm okay with either way at this point. This is what I mean. Like at this point, fuck yeah, I'll take either.
Yeah, as long as it stays away from my doorstep, we're fine.
This is what I mean. People are like, Americans, you have guns. I'm like, we're not fighting the government, dude. I'm fighting you. You come to my door. I didn't do the military in Israel. That being said, you come to my door, I'll shoot your ass down.
Correct.
Because this is really mine, not in the name of Joe Schmo. Tell me what I should or not think or do. And again, dude, America, I'll go to war for America way before I ever did for Israel. That's not even a problem.
That's saying a lot, man. That's saying a lot.
I'm an immigrant. I can see it for what it is. And again, dude, this country has a lot to offer, whether people like it or not. And for me and for my personality and everything, this is home. Yeah, this has been home through and through. I've tried Europe for a few years. That really failed miserably. I'm
So,
wishing well to our friend that just moved to England. I just talked to him earlier. I'm like, how's that
oh yeah,
working for you?
yeah, Tommy.
Dude, I've been in England since the 80s. My grandparents helped the British Brigade fight the Nazis. So we would go there even in the 80s when I was a kid. I went there a million times throughout the years. I would work there, everything. I'm like, no. They're like, it's okay, but no, really not for me. And I'm like, dude, for some people, it's the best thing for them, especially when you're later on in life and you're ready to tone it down.
Yeah.
COVID showed me one way or another as I was sitting in my backyard with a fucking dog and a cat making barbecue that the answer was no. I need to go back to the grind. This is what makes me feel alive. This is what I chose. You know what I mean? So, like I said, you do you on that end.
Hmm.
Yeah, America.
America, man.
Yeah.
So you touched on some music interests, namely with Iron Maiden. Outside from Iron Maiden, as a kid, like what brought you into metal, man? Like what bands like really just got you going towards that trajectory?
Iron Maiden, first of all, just so we're clear, it's a whole funny story by itself. I had posters. There used to be a shop that sold his posters and shit. Why was I attracted to it? I couldn't tell you, dude. I was like 9. I had a room full of Iron Maiden posters before I knew they were a band. I thought Eddie was Iron Maiden because also my English was a little lacking in those years. My brother's 4 years older than me, and he's a geeky geek, but he had a friend that was in the club and all for Maiden. And one day, sure enough, he sees my room. He's like, "You're a Maiden fan?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah." And he's like, "What album?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I was 11 years old. A day later, homeboy came back and handed me a vinyl of Killers. This is how I got into heavy metal. Within 1 year, yeah, between 11 and 13, actually, in 1 or 2 years, we did what a lot of us did back then. And if you have enough shit in your head, it plays well. So we went from Maiden to Metallica to Slayer. And by the time I was 13, I was well into these. And this is again early 90s. So you hear the rumors with the fucking murder in Norway and church burnings. And we're like, fuck yeah, we actually do shit. We're not just talking about it. And Ozzy with his bats. And dude, it fit the bill. It was like I was home.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was pretty much what got me into metal, which is funny enough because I used to dismiss so many bands when I was younger, right?
Right.
Even King Diamond, I'm like, the fuck is that with the screaming and shit? And then when I got older, I'm like, dude, that's the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I go through like life to like, even Iron Maiden, it's a one-off, dude. I'm only 47. I never got into the glam. I never got into the guys in spandex and
Oh,
all
neither
that kind of
me.
shit
Yeah.
because I was a dude from Israel. This was kind of semi-gay for me and a no-no. Right? Like, dude, we were kids. We had chicks with tits on our fucking walls, not a guy in like his spandex, right?
Yes.
And I always say it. I'm like, I'm glad, dude. If I would have been a few years older, I would have totally been into it.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I never got into that thing. Maiden was a one-off, Maiden and Priest, because that's what started everything, and the rest is history. Yeah, that's like why I don't know. It just grinded into my head, and ever since then, we're just good on all ends of it. Black metal, same thing. I wasn't 100% into black metal for many, many years. I got into it more like late 90s,
Hmm.
and again, because it's got and into the doomier ones, into more like Bursum and Darkthrone, because
Yeah.
it had more behind it. I can feel like Debo and a lot of bands like this, even Cradle of Filth. You're very fast and good, but as my brain listens to it, it sounds like a Renaissance fair behind it.
Yeah.
Sounds a little more happy for my
And
sorry fucking angry
just
ass.
way too polished for my liking too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sound like same dude. I tattoo you on Exo for like 13 years now. And I remember when we first talked and he said something about Slayer and he was like, dude, the original albums. Right away. He was like, with all due respect, hello eights. And I was like, so you like him grindy, huh? And he like, yeah, he likes him. You know what I mean? It's a very
Yeah.
specific. And I was like, sure enough, I was with Aisha, with Carrie's wife, a few years back in one of their shows when they were still touring. And she looks at me when they do Hello Eight. She goes, that's mine and Carrie's favorite song. And I'm like, oh, you guys do it? Like, uh-huh.
Fucking
They
hell,
all
man.
go back to the grind. And again, you read about it, you see it, you meet people, you talk to, you can understand. You know, you can definitely understand that this is what hits you. That's what does it. The darkness of the black metal hit me. There was so much behind it. You know,
Yeah.
I can feel that. Like you can sing about trees and it still sound like you're gonna murder someone and sacrifice them.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah,
it's
that's
little things in
exactly
life.
what everything that you mentioned, man. I've gone through the same emotions and the same sensations listening to things like like not Birdsong, but Dark Throne, especially.
That's my go-to.
That's my
My
go-to,
band,
man.
yes.
Like, I mean,
The one band that no matter what they did, I love. And I remember when they did the fuck was it? The one with Leave No Cross Unturned.
the Underground Resistance.
Yes. So they put that, and I'll never forget. Hate Them, in my opinion, is the epitome.
Yeah,
But they put that one right, and I remember making a note. And dude, I usually do not comment or make notes about music because it's music, and it's not. I'm selling my own shit. And I did make a whole post about it. I go, "This is not black metal by far, but it is fucking epic, like so epic." And that's like you said in Till the Light Takes Us when she goes, oh, you're mellowed down. He's like, the fuck are you talking about? Did you listen
yeah.
to the lyrics? He's like, I'm
No,
more angry now than ever.
yeah.
It's like the
I'm
song
writing
and the
lyrics
thing is
that
like
make
a
me want to
kid
kill
song.
myself.
Yeah. I like, and this is what I met him only a couple times briefly. It's a hard one to get. But yeah, Dark Throne through and through. Like, no matter what they did, I'm like, dude, you guys just fucking rule. And then I've never seen them live, right? Because it's almost impossible.
Right.
And then I see when they do that thing with Vulcan, with Satir,
Yeah.
and and Oculta goes there. And I'm literally in tears. I'm like, this is what I would imagine Dark Row will sound like
Yeah.
in a festival, right?
Yeah,
Like, it
man.
was just so good. It just hit home that just like, I was like, fuck, dude. But I talked to a few people, like the guys from Opeth and shit, and they're like, they have too much. They're too much on a pedestal now, right? Because they got
Right.
offered a lot of money. They got
Oh,
up
I'm
to like
sure.
450,000 to play a show, but they're like, can you imagine if they do a show and they suck? I was like, oh yeah, after all these years, dude, the expectation is so high up there that
Man,
you're better off just saying no, right?
I don't think they would suck
I don't think either.
because just from what I read and in the videos I watched with those two guys and how they rehearse their own songs and they come together in the studio and then they make each other's songs together.
Oh, dude, it's a bond by now. It's a natural bond, and they're kind of like, hey, let's make some bar music, right? It doesn't matter what they do, right?
Right. So yeah, that'd be fucking insane, man. If they had just said,
That was, like I said, and again, dude, I'm not like, I don't have that kind of money to spend on this or that, especially after the Pantera and all the Metallica shows last year that fucking drained us. Worth it, but drained us.
yeah,
Um, if Darthone ever announce that they're playing, I will be there. I will sell my liver and be there. I don't care. This
I'll
is
be right
really
there
like,
with you, man. I'll be right there with
I'm
you. And
like, and then we can die. I really don't care. This will
that's
be like,
right.
for all the shows I've seen, this will be it. This
That's
will be
it.
like, that's what I waited my whole freaking life. But yeah, they always stood above all of them for me, which is funny because the first time I met Fenris, they opened this little. I was dating this girl before my last wife was Danish, but before that, I was dating this Norwegian girl that used to work in Inferno and everything on Hilda. And originally, she used to be married to the original guitar player of Demo. So she worked in Elm Street, all that shit, and she lived with me and everybody in the years. I tattooed one day in Oslo, and she's like, "Oh, they just opened this little bar. It's underground, it's Viking, blah blah blah. I'm gonna go have a couple beers." Like, cool. Dude, she comes in the middle of tattoo. She's like, "You said you want to meet Gilbert," and I'm like, "Yeah, why?" She's like, "He's sitting there. He might not talk to you. He's in the corner by himself. in the darkest corner. So I went and said hello, but it was like my first time. I didn't want to bother him, basically.
Right, right.
But I have so many friends that know him. And then my one friend, Jonas, is like, you want to meet him, dude? Come ice fishing with us. That's your best bet.
No shit.
He's like, really? Dude, he did a thing for NRK about it. I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, that's your best bet of hanging out with him for a few days. We just get drunk and we go ice fishing. And I'm like, sure, anything, dude, whatever. And then that fell through a few years ago, too. It was like right off Oslo. But yeah, no, for me, it's like, dude, that's the one band that if I meet, I'll still be a fanboy. There's just no
Oh
two ways
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
I'll
I've
still be
been
like, dude,
I've been a fan ever since I found out about them through an American online chat room in 1995,
no,
and around that time is whenever Panzerfaust came out, and
that's the
basically,
one.
yeah, that's the one. I started with that album and like went backward and just been followed them ever since they came
I'm
out with.
amazed that they don't call Panzerfaust black metal. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about, dude? Isn't that
Yes,
death metal?
it is the
Because
most
I have the thing on my phone that he does the commentary for it.
right, right.
And he got, dude, he's so on point, right? I'm like, this
Yeah,
is one of the treadmill. And I'm like, and the song, dude, the one, I came to Norway first time. It must be, say, about 15 years ago. And I'm like, all right, I'm in Norway. The fuck is this song means? The last song, right? So I'm like, this is the most evil song I ever heard in my life. And they're like, it's about the snow and the
it's the
forest.
poem.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? What is this hippie shit? They're like, dude, it's called the snow and the forest. I'm like, okay. No, they did have a point that they go, have you ever been to the forest at night? It's creepy. And I'm like,
Yeah,
fair enough. But that was the song. That was like, dude, talk about evil, the most evil thing I've ever heard in my life. No, like I can sit here listening to this, and as Jim Morrison said, "Plan a murder or start a religion." It's deep. This thing goes all the way in and out of my heart.
hell yeah, man.
But yeah, Darkthrone through and through, no doubt.
So I don't know if Tommy told you, but what I like to do on this podcast, man, and it might be difficult for you because there's so many, I know. But the question of the hour is, what are 6 albums that you cannot live without? Like if
6. I'll shoot off top of my head, and because you said 6, that we're good. Because you know how everybody's like, "What's your one band?" I'm like, that's a lot. That's a lot more than one, right? 6 albums. We'll start where credit is due in Rain and Blood, obviously. That goes without saying. Speaking of, before we go to the other 5, you asked for funny stories.
oh yeah,
I wrote the Rain and Blood. I drew this little skeleton on the wall of my high school, ninth, 10th grade, whatever. I was a freshman. And wrote the lyrics for Auschwitz, the meaning of death, the reason I want you to die. I got investigated in Israel on suspicion of being a neo-Nazi.
God damn,
In Israel. Like, dude, there is no neo-Nazis in Israel. Jeff Hanneman made me tell him this story 5 times.
that's wild.
Every time I would be there again with Paul or Carrie or whatever, and Jeff and Carrie would be like, Jeff's in a bad mood. Tell him that story again. He got such a kick from a kid in Israel openly writing those lyrics on a high school wall, expecting not to get in trouble. So yes, Rain and Blood, 100%. Um, man, which Dark Throne wouldn't I? Panzerfaust, yeah, Panzerfaust will be the one.
There you go.
Speaking of philosophy, that'll be the third. American Prayer with Jim Morrison.
That's a really good one, man. I really enjoyed that
I
album.
have Morrison tattooed on my forearm since I'm 16, not because of the Doors, because of Jim Morrison, right? Like the guy, I got his poetry book, I got the Jim Morrison. Because I always said, I'm like, I am kind of like a hippie, but the Morrison and Manson style, the one that still wants you to die with the hippie mentality, and that was Morrison for me. So American Prayer, yeah, that would be really Pink Floyd The Wall. Will have to be another one of them. And the 6th one, I don't listen to this album nearly enough. Diamanda Galas. The fuck, the one with the pendulum, the one with the La Pestilence.
Yeah,
Sono La Pestilence, yeah. That's another one that once in a while I need to put it in just to lose my shit of how evil can evil sound.
Right, right, man. That's fucking awesome, dude. Man, I can't thank you enough for coming on the podcast, dude.
Thank you, man. It's
Ma-
really
and your book, you did it your way. It's
you
fucking
have any
awesome.
other choice.
I can't wait to. I'm gonna order a copy. And
Thank you.
like no
Please let
shit.
me know. No, I thank you for having me again. This is when people say this with the book again. Yeah, life's been a little rough post COVID for a lot of tattoo artists. So we do all sorts of side projects. I also shoot for press now, so I get to see dead people. It's awesome. Um, that being said, the book that was exactly the purpose of it. At the end of the day, this wasn't a money move. The
Right.
book was like for somebody who did have a name and reputation, still do what I do, still have my passion, but now I got to fight the internet. So I went ahead and did something in order for more people to fucking find out who I am again and connect with people of our kind, same as yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, Same thing we did when we had articles. We had this. This was not an Ink Master scenario. This because people like us don't fucking openly go on this kind of shit. You know, we usually
Yeah.
boycott it more than not. And this was basically the purpose. So I'm glad I got to meet you. I'm glad to come on your show. I hope it helps everybody.
Oh man, look,
Death to all
it's
my
just
metal. Yeah.
fucking yeah, man. I can't wait to meet you, man, in person. And if you come down south, make a trip to New Orleans at least.
Are you in New Orleans?
I'm 2 hours away from New Orleans.
Are you in Louisiana?
Oh yeah,
Then I'll come see you next year.
that's what I'm talking about, man.
Dude, my sorry ass toured for years and it took the freaking pandemic and a cross country to finally get to New Orleans. Okay. FID was done by my friend Jeremy Justice in Eye Candy in New Orleans. I went to, Phil wasn't around. I went to the bars and I went to the Seven Doors Hotel. And the two questions I had in New Orleans, where's the Causeway Bridge and where's the Seven Doors Hotel? Because I'm a full Chief fan. And there I was taking a picture. That's also from the Beyond. I took a picture and I'm like, dude, I've been to the catacombs. I've been to a lot of shit in life. This here
Yeah.
is amazing to me. I cannot wait to come back to New Orleans. I have a friend of a friend, Damien Nicholas.
Uh huh.
I heard from the
Or the Memphis 3.
Memphis 3. He
Yeah.
lives out there. I don't know if he still does, but he's a good friend of the guy I'm staying with here. And he said he does this. If I go there, he can give me a full tour because I went to the cemeteries and everything, but he's more knowledgeable about it.
Right.
Dude, I miss Louisiana. It made so much sense to me. And I just love the South. I did my whole cross country in the South. I'm like, I love whiskey and I love the South. The attitude, the whole 9 yard. I had poutine balls. Never had those before. So yes, I will be back there next year. I already talked
Well,
to people.
please let me know when you do, man. I'll make it a point to fucking go find your ass.
Oh, we'll come see you. Absolutely, brother.
Hell yeah, man. Dude, Lior, thank you so much, man. It's great to
Good,
meet
man.
you. Great to get to know more about you. And I'm so excited about your book. I'm excited about where you're going. And we're going to meet up soon, man.
Thank you. Be
All right,
good,
let's
my
do it
friend.
again. Okay.
All right.